Hello, my ladies of inestimable value. If you think you're not being tested, you're already failing. Let that sink in, because the Sigma female, that rare breed of independence, silence, and unpredictable depth, doesn't test you with words. Oh no. She doesn't ask questions. She watches. She studies your behavior like a human lie detector disguised as a goddess in heels and silence. And the worst part, you won't even know the test has started until you've already flunked it. Here's a chilling fact. Over 80% of men admit they don't know where they stand with deeply self-contained women. And that's not by accident. That's by design. See, while most women might test your wallet, your abs, or your Spotify playlist, a Sigma female? She tests your soul through silence, chaos, and moments you thought were harmless. She doesn't need to trap you because your own ego usually walks into the cage voluntarily. And the door? It locks from the inside. So if you've ever found yourself confused, overthinking, or feeling like you just got emotionally audited without a warning, congratulations. You were in the middle of the exam and didn't even bring a pencil. Now, let's pull back the curtain. Here are 12 silent, savage, and brilliantly engineered tests every Sigma female puts you through, without ever saying a word. And trust me, they're not written in any dating guide. Buckle up. Number 1. The silence stretch. Challenge. The silence test is one of the most brutal and revealing things a Sigma female will ever put you through. And you won't even realize it's happening until it's too late. She won't announce it. She won't say, "I'm not going to text you for 2 days." She'll just go quiet. No drama, no warning. She simply vanishes from the conversation. And it's not ghosting. It's calculated silence, not abandonment. She's watching what you do when the noise stops. Most guys don't handle it well. They panic. They overthink. They start double texting, triple checking, and sending weird little, "Hey, just checking in," messages that reek of insecurity. And just like that, the test is over. You failed. Because here's the truth. Her silence is her microscope. It tells her exactly how much power you've given to your need for attention, approval, and reassurance. If you can't handle space without spiraling, she instantly knows that your self-worth is still on life support. What makes this test even more savage is that it feels so casual. You'll tell yourself she's just busy, she's just tired, or maybe her phone died. But deep down, something feels off, and the silence gets louder. That's the test tightening around your ego. If you react emotionally, try to guilt trip her or send her some guilt-laced "guess you're too busy now" message. She sees that you were never emotionally grounded to begin with. You needed her to prove something. And Sigma females don't prove. They observe. But if you stay calm, keep your energy intact, and carry on with your life without chasing or crumbling, that's when her respect for you quietly skyrockets. She's not testing your patience. She's testing your emotional discipline. She wants to see if you need constant access to her in order to feel secure, or if you're the kind of man who doesn't flinch in uncertainty. Because real men don't beg for attention. They command it with presence, not pressure. Her silence is not absence. It's a pressure cooker for your character. How you handle it tells her everything she needs to know. And trust me, she's not waiting to be impressed. She's waiting to be convinced. Number 2, the truth bomb trap. The truth bomb trap is subtle, sharp, and incredibly effective, and most men walk straight into it with zero awareness. A Sigma female will casually drop a statement that hits like a grenade. It could be a blunt take on relationships, an unfiltered opinion about men, or even a cold truth about you that no one's ever had the guts to say out loud. But here's the catch. She's not trying to start a fight. She's testing your emotional intelligence, your ability to hear something uncomfortable without falling apart. The moment she drops that truth bomb, she's watching your face, your tone, your energy. If your first reaction is defensiveness, cutting her off, explaining yourself, or trying to flip the conversation back on her, she knows you're emotionally fragile. And Sigma women have zero patience for men who crumble under honest dialogue. To her, truth is sacred. She doesn't sugarcoat life. She doesn't wrap her opinions in pretty bows. And if you're only comfortable when things are pleasant or ego-boosting, she knows you're not equipped for real connection. But if you pause, listen, Maybe even ask her why she thinks that. Now she's interested. Not because you agreed with her, but because you didn't let your ego hijack the conversation. That moment of tension is the actual test. Can you sit in the fire of truth without throwing water all over it? This trap works like a charm because it looks like a random comment, but it's actually a laser-targeted scan. She's checking if you're secure enough to handle her mind, not just her body. And if you can't, she's mentally packing up before you even realize there was a shift. Most men try to correct her or impress her with a counterpoint, but the ones who pass, they stay calm, open, and grounded, even when the truth stings. That's when she knows this one doesn't just want her. He can meet her where most men can't even see her. Number 3, the respect without obedience paradox. The respect without obedience. Paradox is one of the most advanced and misunderstood tests a Sigma female will ever put you through. Unlike most people who equate love with control or validation, she gives you something rare from the start: freedom. She doesn't chase, cling, or demand. She won't ask where you are, who you're with, or why you didn't text back. She gives you space, and not because she's detached, but because she's evolved. Now here's where most men mess up. They confuse her calm for passivity. They see her lack of control as weakness, and that's when the ego creeps in. The moment a man thinks she's easy to manage, or she doesn't push back, so I'll take the lead, she catches it instantly. That's not leadership, that's domination disguised as confidence. And to a Sigma woman, nothing screams emotional immaturity louder than a man who thinks he's the boss in a relationship built on mutual freedom. You see, she's not trying to be the alpha or the beta. She's not playing roles. She's building alignment. She gives you respect without requiring obedience in return. But the second you interpret that respect as an invitation to control her, she pulls the plug, quietly, instantly. No argument, just detachment. She's not impressed by power plays, alpha male bravado, or men who think relationships are about who's in charge. She's watching for one thing: collaboration. Can you handle the freedom she gives you without trying to take more than what was offered? Can you walk beside her instead of ahead or behind her? That's the real test. Because to her, emotional strength is not about dominance. It's about balance. It's about being a man who doesn't need control to feel secure, and doesn't mistake respect for submission. If you fail this test, she won't tell you. She'll just leave. Because in her world, power isn't seized, it's shared. And if you can't understand that, you were never meant to sit at her table in the first place. Number 4, the Uncloaked Chaos Scan. The Uncloaked Chaos Scan is one of the deepest and most uncomfortable tests a Sigma female will ever put you through, because it strips away every illusion you might have had about her. For a while, she may appear composed, independent, and emotionally bulletproof, but at some point she'll pull the curtain back just a little. Not for drama, not for pity, but to see you clearly. She'll show you her chaos. Not in a loud, theatrical meltdown, but in a quiet, raw moment where she's not polished or perfect. Maybe she tells you something dark from her past. Maybe she opens up about her fears, her flaws, or the way her mind spirals at 2 a.m. when no one's watching. It's messy. It's vulnerable. It's real. And it's not a cry for help. It's a deliberate test. Because here's the truth. She doesn't care about how well you handle her when she's smiling and collected. That's easy. She wants to know what you do when the armor comes off. Do you immediately try to fix her? Do you change the subject? Do you freeze up? Or worse, use it against her later? That first instinct reveals everything about your emotional depth. If you judge her, even slightly, she closes the door. If you try to fix her like a broken machine, she knows you're not actually listening. You're just uncomfortable with her not being neat. But if you can sit in the storm with her, silent, grounded, unshaken, she notices. She respects that, because it means you're strong enough to hold space without needing to control it. You're not intimidated by the parts of her that don't make sense, that aren't tied up with a bow. You're not trying to fix her chaos, you're just not afraid of it. That's rare. Most men run the moment real emotion enters the room. Sigma females don't want someone who disappears when things get messy. They want someone who stays present when the lights flicker and the mask drops. This isn't about drama. It's about depth. And if you can't handle the unfiltered version of her, you were never qualified for the full picture to begin with. Number 5. The power in public gauge. The power in public gauge is a silent but ruthless test, and most men don't even realize they're being watched until they've already failed. It happens the moment a Sigma female steps into a room and all eyes land on her. Not because she's trying to be the center of attention, but because her energy commands it. She's magnetic without effort, confident without performance. And whether it's men glancing too long or women quietly sizing her up, the room shifts around her. That's when the real test begins, not for her, but for you. She's not paying attention to the compliments or the stares. She's watching you. She wants to see how your masculinity holds up when she's visibly admired by others. Do you shrink a little, get awkward, annoyed, or suddenly quiet? That's insecurity whispering. Or do you overcompensate, grab her tighter, interrupt her, crack jokes louder, or suddenly start making everything about you? That's fear in disguise. The truth is, most men are fine with a powerful woman in private, but crumble when they have to share her light in public. And Sigma females pick up on that in seconds. She doesn't want a man who's only confident when he's in control of the spotlight. She wants a man who's so grounded in himself that her power doesn't threaten his, it amplifies it. This test is all about emotional security. If her confidence makes you uncomfortable, she knows you're not as strong as you think. If her beauty or intelligence triggers your competitiveness, you're not her partner, you're her rival. And that's an instant disqualifier. But if you stay calm, supportive, unbothered, even slightly amused by the attention she gets, she clocks that instantly. You passed because it means you're not performing, you're secure. You don't need to outshine her or shrink her glow. You're just steady, knowing her shine doesn't dim yours. And that's rare. That's power. That's the kind of man she'll trust to walk beside her. Not just when things are quiet and safe, but when all eyes are watching. Number 6. The energy hygiene test. The energy hygiene test is the one most men fail before they even say a word. See, Sigma females are hypersensitive to energy, not in a new age incense-burning kind of way, but in a brutally sharp, subconscious reading, emotional X-ray kind of way. She picks up on things other people miss, the tension behind your smile, the desperation hiding under your confidence, the storm you brought with you from your last conversation. She doesn't need you to speak your mind. Your energy has already done all the talking. You could walk in wearing confidence like cologne, but if your energy is loud, scattered, or quietly desperate for validation, she feels it instantly. It might not even be something dramatic. Maybe you're carrying resentment from a past relationship. Maybe you're pretending to be chill but dying for her approval. Maybe you're trying too hard to be impressive, masking insecurity with fake dominance. She doesn't judge it, but she registers it. And once she does, there's no going back. She may smile, be polite, even engage in conversation. But inside, you've already been mentally filed under emotional pollution. Because to her, unclean energy isn't just unattractive, it's draining. She's spent too much time learning how to master her own emotional landscape to let someone come in and flood her system with chaotic vibrations. If you don't know how to manage your inner world, you're not going to be allowed into hers. She's not looking for perfection. She's looking for emotional clarity. Clean, still water. Not a man whose emotions slosh around like a broken washing machine. You don't have to be loud to be messy. Even subtle anxiety, hidden bitterness, or that silent expectation that she'll fix you. She can feel it. And once she does, you're not a mystery. You're a liability. Men who pass this test are the ones who enter calmly, stay grounded, and don't try to take from her energetically. They bring presence, not pressure, space, not noise, and most importantly, they're not leaking need. They're already full. That's the kind of energy she lets in. The rest? She filters out like static, quietly, without a single word. Number 7. The Absence Audit. The Absence Audit is one of the most quietly brutal tests a Sigma female will ever initiate, and most men don't even know they're being evaluated. She doesn't make a grand exit. She doesn't ghost or vanish out of spite. She just becomes absent, a little slower to reply, a little less available, a little more silent in the spaces where you once felt her presence. This isn't a game, it's not manipulation, it's data collection. She's watching, not your words, but your void response. What do you do when her energy retreats? If your first instinct is to chase, overtext, guilt trip, or start performing harder for her attention, you've failed. Not because you cared, but because you showed her that your sense of connection is still powered by external control. You want to manage her energy, not respect it. You need her consistent presence to validate your place in her world. That's not connection. That's ego dependency. She disappears not to punish, but to observe. If you panic in the silence, she sees you're emotionally outsourced, still reliant on external cues to feel grounded. And if your masculinity crumbles the moment she steps back, she knows it was never real to begin with. It was borrowed, fragile, performative. But if you hold your posture, stay calm, go about your life, and match her energy with quiet respect, you've passed. Because it shows you trust her autonomy. You don't force closeness. You don't beg for attention. You understand that real connection can withstand pauses, space, even ambiguity. That's where the mature men separate from the insecure ones. The absence audit reveals something most women never even test for: your internal stability when love stops performing. And she watches it like a hawk. Because if you can't handle a dip in energy without spiraling or grabbing control, she knows you're not safe to share the real depths of her with. Men who pass don't chase. They witness, they wait. And they trust that if connection is real, it doesn't need to be forced, scheduled, or controlled. It just is. And that level of inner calm, that's what tells her you're built for something deeper. Number 8, the power play reversal. The power play reversal is the quietest setup with the loudest consequences. And it's how a Sigma female separates leaders from controllers. Most men spend so much time trying to get the upper hand in a relationship that when she voluntarily gives them the reins, they mistake it for surrender. That's where they lose her. She might let you plan the trip, take the financial lead, or guide the emotional direction of your conversations. Not because she needs you to, but because she wants to see what kind of man you become when you think you're in charge. This is not submission. It's strategy, and it's deadly accurate. She's watching every micro choice you make, how you speak to her, if you consider her input, if you take the lead and still respect her autonomy, or if the moment you sense power in your hands, you stop collaborating and start dictating. A Sigma woman does not hand over power to see you perform. She does it to see your default mode when the illusion of control kicks in. Some men use that power to impress, others use it to suppress. The latter think they've won something because she's not pushing back. But the truth is she's already several steps ahead, silently clocking every sign of ego-driven behavior. The moment you start treating her like a passenger instead of a partner, the test ends. And so does her interest. You won't get a warning, no argument, no confrontation, just distance. Because once she sees that you equate leadership with dominance instead of cooperation, you've revealed that your version of power requires her silence. And she doesn't play that game. Men who pass this test are rare because they lead with inclusivity. They value her voice even when they're in charge. They move with strength but never steamroll. And that balance of initiative without control, direction without ego, is what proves you're built for a power dynamic, not a power struggle. The reversal was never about her stepping down. It was about seeing if you'd try to stand over her once she let you lead, and if you do, you'll never get the chance again. Number 9, the darkness tolerance check. The darkness tolerance check is one of the most intense, unspoken challenges a Sigma female will put you through, and it can make or break everything between you without a single word exchanged. Unlike typical relationships where vulnerability is often sugar-coated or only selectively shared, Sigma females pull back the curtain completely. They show you the raw, ugly, and uncomfortable parts of themselves, the scars from past traumas, the simmering rage they refuse to let consume them, the moments where nihilism or despair whisper louder than hope. This isn't a plea for sympathy or a call for saving, far from it. When she unveils her shadows, she's testing something deeper than compassion. She's testing your backbone, your ability to sit with darkness without trying to fix it, change it, or make it better. She wants a witness, not a hero, someone who can hold space for her pain without flinching, without retreating, and most importantly, without painting her struggle with a rosy filter that distorts reality. If your reaction is to romanticize her darkness, treating it like some poetic brokenness that makes her more mysterious or deep, you've failed this test. You reduce her complexity to a cliché and trap her in a role she's desperate to escape. If you pity her, you strip her of agency and reduce her strength to weakness, which is an insult she'll never tolerate. And if you jump straight into rescue mode, trying to fix what she's chosen to show you, you've already lost. She doesn't want to be saved. She wants to be seen. What she needs is a presence that's unshakable, someone who can stare into her darkness without blinking, who respects her capacity to fight her own battles while quietly standing beside her. This is about emotional courage. It's about being strong enough to be vulnerable with her, not to save her from vulnerability. Men who pass the darkness tolerance check don't flinch when the lights go out. They don't run. They don't try to sanitize the mess. They simply stay. And that steadfast presence is the rarest kind of power, one she will never forget. Number 10. The chaos versus calm juxtaposition. The chaos versus calm juxtaposition is a silent, sophisticated litmus test that a Sigma female uses to decode what truly drives you beneath the surface. She doesn't just show you one side of herself. She deliberately presents both extremes, the tempest and the sanctuary, and watches how you respond. This isn't some petty mood swing she's throwing your way for fun. It's a strategic reveal to see if you're genuinely built for the complexity of her world or if you're just chasing a high. When she's chaotic, raw emotions, unpredictable energy, the storms swirling around her, you might feel alive, energized, and maybe even intoxicated. That chaos feeds your adrenaline, your need for excitement, your craving for intensity. It's a rush, a challenge, a puzzle begging to be solved. But when she switches to calm, quiet, composed, deep stillness, if you recoil, lose interest, or feel restless, that's a glaring red flag. It tells her you're addicted to noise, not nuance. You thrive on drama, not on the deeper, more challenging kind of connection that requires presence in silence. The truth is, true depth isn't found in perpetual chaos. It lives in the quiet moments that test patience and emotional stability. The ability to sit with her calm, without trying to stir the waters or provoke the storm, is what separates the surface players from the rare few who can hold space for her entire spectrum. If you only crave her wildness but reject her stillness, you reveal yourself as a consumer of emotion rather than a partner in it. You're chasing the thrill of unpredictability but aren't ready for the responsibility of consistency. And that's exactly what she can't tolerate. Men who pass this test are those who not only survive the storm, but appreciate the silence that follows. They don't need chaos to feel alive. They know when to lean into it and when to respect the calm. That balance between craving and acceptance, fire and water, is what convinces her you're not just another drama addict, but someone who can truly match her depth. Number 11. The delayed gratification lens. The delayed gratification lens is one of the most subtle but powerful tests a Sigma female uses to separate impulsive players from men of real substance. She doesn't delay physical intimacy to play childish games or to boost her ego. Instead, she's quietly watching how you handle the weight, the silence between desire and fulfillment. This isn't about endurance or willpower alone. It's about how much you value connection over conquest. If your focus immediately zeroes in on sex, making it your mission, your prize, your only goal, you've already lost the deeper game. She senses it in every glance, every word, every impatient move you make. That desperation for instant gratification reveals a mindset that's shallow, transactional, and emotionally undeveloped. But if you can engage with her mind, her energy, her world, without rushing toward physical intimacy, you show something rare: maturity, respect, and emotional control. Your patience becomes your resume, a proof that you understand intimacy isn't just about physical acts. It's about building trust, safety, and mutual desire that can actually grow over time. She wants a man who can savor the process, the slow burn, the subtle cues, the emotional layering, the kind of man who understands that jumping straight to sex often skips the parts that make it meaningful. By holding back, you demonstrate that your interest in her is holistic, not just skin deep. This test also reveals your ability to handle frustration and uncertainty without crumbling or becoming needy. Waiting without pressure shows emotional strength and confidence. It tells her you're not trying to win her, but to earn her, step by patient step. In essence, the delayed gratification lens is her way of measuring your emotional intelligence and long-term thinking. And if you pass, you're not just a casual hookup. You become someone she can trust to hold space for her fully, mind, heart, and body. Number 12, the integrity under pressure drill. The integrity under pressure drill is one of the quietest yet most revealing tests a Sigma female puts you through. And it happens in moments so small you might not even realize it's a test at all. When she changes plans abruptly or contradicts herself, it's not because she's trying to disrespect or confuse you. It's a deliberate move to see how you respond when life gets messy. Not the big dramatic disasters, but the everyday irritations and inconveniences that quietly build stress. Here's the truth. Anyone can appear confident and stable when everything is perfectly aligned. But the real measure of character is what happens when things don't go as expected. If your first reaction to a sudden change is frustration, anger, or losing your cool, you've just revealed how shaky your foundation really is. She's watching closely to see if you can keep your composure when things get unpredictable, because in life, unpredictability is the only constant. If you panic, complain, or try to force things back to your original plan, she knows you're not someone who can handle true partnership. A Sigma female values emotional resilience. She wants to be with someone who doesn't crumble when the script flips but adapts without losing respect for herself or for her. If your character collapses over something as minor as a change in dinner plans or a shift in timing, she can only imagine how you'll react when faced with real storms, health issues, career setbacks, family drama, or emotional crises. On the other hand, if you show grace under pressure, if you accept the change with calm, maybe even a little humor, it's like a beacon. You're demonstrating flexibility, patience, and the ability to hold your integrity when things get complicated. She sees that you're emotionally mature enough to navigate not just her complexity, but life's chaos alongside her. This drill is brutal because it cuts through pretense. It doesn't let you hide behind charm or polished words. Instead, it exposes the core of who you are when the unexpected happens. And that's the kind of strength she needs, because a Sigma female doesn't do easy. She's looking for a partner who can stand steady with her, no matter what curveballs come flying. And if you pass this test, you become far more than a boyfriend. You become a rare kind of ally she can trust with everything. In the intricate dance that is getting close to a Sigma female, these unspoken tests are not just challenges. They are her way of decoding your true essence. She's not interested in surface-level charm or rehearsed performances. She's scanning your emotional architecture, your resilience, your integrity, and your ability to navigate the complex spectrum of human experience. Each subtle trial, from watching how you handle her chaos and calm, to measuring your patience with delayed gratification, to gauging your composure under pressure, and finally to observing your grace in endings, forms a mosaic that reveals whether you're truly capable of walking beside her. What makes these tests extraordinary isn't just their subtlety, but the brutal honesty behind them. There is no room for weakness disguised as strength, no patience for insecurity masked by bravado. A Sigma female's world is one of authenticity, depth, and unyielding standards. She isn't looking for someone to fill a role or play a part. She's seeking a partner who matches her on the battlefield of life, someone who holds their own with unwavering confidence, emotional intelligence, and quiet power. Understanding these hidden tests is more than just a roadmap for winning her respect. It's a blueprint for personal growth. Because the traits she demands, patience, integrity, emotional literacy, resilience, are the same ones that elevate any man from the crowd of the average to the ranks of the exceptional. Passing her tests means you're not just good enough for her. You're evolving into the kind of man who can thrive in any storm. who can appreciate the full spectrum of human complexity, and who can build something real and lasting. So if you find yourself walking through these silent trials, remember this. The Sigma female isn't an enigma to be cracked or a puzzle to be solved. She's a mirror, reflecting back your true self in every interaction, every reaction, every moment of pressure and calm. And the question is, are you ready to face what she reveals? Because the man who can pass her tests doesn't just earn her respect. He earns a rare kind of partnership that challenges, inspires, and transforms both lives forever. If you found this deep dive into the mind of a Sigma female as eye-opening as I hope you did, don't just keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button to join a community that's all about uncovering raw truths and leveling up in life and relationships. Like the video, if it challenged your thinking, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and drop your thoughts or experiences in the comments. I want to hear what you think and how these tests have shown up in your own life. Your engagement not only helps this channel grow, but sparks conversations that can change how we all see the world. So go ahead, subscribe, like, share, and comment, because this journey is just getting started, and you don't want to miss what's coming next.